Welcome to everyone to our third Sunday of Advent here at First Congregational United Church of Christ. And hope that you'll sign the pew registers and think of those that you may want to send goodwill and wishes to this day, and use the thinking of you cards. I'll ask if there are other announcements.
Bible is on page 641. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me. He has sent me to bring good news to the oppressed, to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and release to the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn, to provide for those who mourn in Zion, to give them a garland instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, the mantle of praise instead of a faint spirit. They will be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord to display his glory. They shall build up the ancient ruins. They shall raise up the former devastations. They shall repair the ruined cities, the devastations of many generations. For I, the Lord, love justice. I hate robbery and wrongdoing. I will faithfully give them their recompense, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them. Their descendants shall be known among the nations, and their offspring among the peoples. All who see them shall acknowledge that they are a people whom the Lord has blessed. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My whole being shall exult in my God, for he has clothed me with the garments of salvation. He has covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decks himself with a garland, and as a bride adorns herself with jewels. For as the earth brings forth its shoots, and as a garden causes what is sown in it to spring up, so the Lord God will cause righteousness and praise to spring up before all the nations. Here ends the reading, and may God add his blessing to our hearing of it.
And now may the words of my mouth, meditations of all our hearts, acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, our strength and our salvation. A week ago, one of the residents at the program where I now work in Worcester called the executive director and said that he had relapsed. What should he do? The director, who I can proudly say also happens to be a UCC, is a very compassionate man. He said, just come back. We'll figure out what to do. Went to his case manager and said, I need to get him into detox. Case manager said, I can do that. When the man came back and got into detox, we had another dilemma, as programs like ours do. Because, of course, there was a release in his file to his probation officer. Many of you know that relapse often means revocation to someone on probation. We are obliged as a program to notify. When this man came back from detox, he was furious with his case manager and with me. Well, you know, I could have just done like other folks do. I could have just come back and slept it off and not told anybody, and nobody would know, and then I wouldn't go back to jail. And I said to him, you could. But you know, you're supposed to be working a program of rigorous honesty. You might want to talk to your sponsor about that. Well, at any rate, his case manager and I knew that some contribution to that relapse may have been the fact that this past week, he had to go back to court, face a charge of pickpocketing in the courthouse, where they claim to have him on tape, which he fully denies. Now, as we worked with him, his case manager was very patient with him because, of course, he had two more things at issue. One, he had already lost his other job, his first job he had there, because the person that he is accused of pickpocketing is elderly, and he works with elderly. So his boss said, I have to let you go. Well, he got another job. He was very resourceful. But of course, he missed a few days of work while he was in detox. Question is now again, does he tell his boss why he missed work? Well, he listened to our other urges to him. He came clean and told his boss why he had missed work. The boss said, well, that's it. You got to go. I can't have drunks driving my vehicles. However, the case manager said to him, you might want to talk to the folks down at Legal Aid. There's the American Disabilities Act. There's some other things that there might be recourse for. He listened to his case manager, and he got brave, and he called his boss's supervisor. His boss's supervisor said, I have 27 years sober. I know what you're going through. Your boss has been told not to treat people that way. Come on back. And for whatever reasons, the hearing that was to take place on Wednesday has been postponed to next month, so we won't know what will happen there. But I saw a very grateful individual who helped with we had another difficult situation in the house this week, and when it came time for the community to speak up, this individual said to the rest of the house, you know, I was pretty angry at my case manager. My case manager knows what he's doing. And I followed what he told me to do. And I got my job back. And I'm grateful to be here. Well, I thought about that story in today's about what we've been looking at the last couple of weeks. You remember last week I talked about the fact that it was second Isaiah. There are 3 Isaiahs in the Bible. It stretches over a few hundred years, so it couldn't be the same person. The second Isaiah last week was that homecoming, where we had that beautiful and inspiring words of comfort in the lives, in the wake of destruction that had overcome the Israelites in Babylon. In this psalm that I remember I said, oh, you're going to wonder how this psalm fits in this morning. Even with the shouts of joy in that psalm, there was a lament, a cry for help in the midst of terrible circumstances. The psalmist remembers what God has done for Israel in the past and what it felt like. The psalmist remembers how they shouted with joy and laughter on their way home from exile. But years later, however, the first rush of joy is over, and they're still struggling. How does all that relate to the story I started out with this morning? Well, Friday, the same man came into my office and said, you know, I'm still having a tough time. I'm just really struggling. I don't seem to have any hope. I'm just sad. And I said to him, have you ever been camping? I was taking a risk there, because this is a black man who's from the city. But he said, yeah, I've been camping. I said, oh, good. So have you ever had that experience when you're camping and you can't sleep and you're tossing and turning and you're out there at night? And have you ever noticed that it's the darkest right before dawn? He said, oh, I've been a long-haul truck driver. Yeah, I know exactly what that's like.